Hey everybody, welcome back. And in this video, you will need a paper and a pencil, and you'll need to copy these three Big Daddy words, okay? Now, you don't have to worry about making the vowels different colors, just copy the words down on your paper, okay? So go ahead and stop the video, take care of that, and when you're finished, click back on and we'll continue. Okay, now we have some bigger words. So to make our bigger words easier to read, we can divide them into parts or syllables, okay? And then read those syllables just like little words using the same rules about vowels. Put the syllables together, and when we do that, we can read the bigger word, okay? Now, in our other videos, I have just circled the syllables for you. But in this first word, I'm going to show you where you can divide the word to make your syllables, okay? So our first step in making our syllables is to find our vowel sounds, okay? Because each syllable or part will have its own. And to find our vowel sounds, we have to remember how we can make a vowel sound in a word. Well, we know the vowel can be long or short on its own, so we can make a vowel sound with a vowel by itself. We know we can make a vowel sound with two vowels together, like with Magic E and Vowel Team, where it'll be a long vowel sound, okay? And we also know two vowels together can be a special diphthong, okay? And we also know we can make a vowel sound by putting the vowel with R, a bossy R. So we have to think about those different ways to find our vowel sounds in words. Okay, let's go ahead and start with the first one. And let's put our finger underneath the first vowel and see what we've got here. Okay, and our first vowel is an E. Now, we do not have another vowel beside it. We do not have consonant magic E. We do not have R after it. Okay, so this vowel is going to make a vowel sound on its own. So let's put a V, and that V will stand for vowel sound. Okay, let's find our next vowel, and it's an I. All right, if we look, we do not have another vowel beside it. We don't have R after it, but we do have consonant magic E. So we know these two vowels together will be a long vowel sound. Okay, so let's mark it for a long vowel to show just the first vowel. Talks makes the sound, says its name, and the second vowel just walks with it and stays silent. Okay, now we're going to put just one V because we're going to make this vowel sound with two vowels together. Okay, now once we found our vowel sounds, we can join them together with a bridge. Okay, and then we can see what's on the bridge up above. Well, you see we have two consonants, so I'm going to put a C for consonant. And when we have two consonants in between our vowel sounds, a lot of times we just split those apart. So we're going to go zoop right down the middle. And now we've made two syllables. Okay, alrighty. Let's take a look at just the first syllable, and you can chunk with your finger or hand to break the word down. You can see how the vowel E is closed up by itself in the first syllable, so that means it's going to be quick and short. So let's mark it that way. And let's go ahead and read that first syllable with short E, or ep, rep. Let's take a look at the second syllable. Okay, and you can see how we have I with magic E, so let's mark it that way. Please do all of this with me. And you know I magic E together will be long I, so let's read the second syllable with I, o, tile. So we have reptile, reptile. Like a lizard is a type of reptile. Okay, so now you know where to divide a word into syllables when you have this pattern. When you have two consonants in between your vowel sounds, we can just split them apart. Okay, pretty cool. Now for the next two words, we are just going to circle the syllables to move this along. So we're going to circle 1, 2 syllables. Let's take a look at just the first syllable. You can see how we have the vowel E on its own at the end. So that means it's going to be open and long on its own. Mark it that way. And let's read the first syllable with long E, or E, re. Let's take a look at the second syllable. You see how we have the vowel U with R after it. And you know U, R together will be a bossy R. So let's mark it that way. And underline it for one sound because we know U, R together. We'll say Let's read the second syllable with earn, turn. So we have turn, return. Okay? Like please return your library book. Okay? Now, we wouldn't say return. So we know it has to be return with a long E. okay, to make a real word. Let's go down to the next. Let's go down to the next one, and this is going to be a true Big Daddy because we're going to circle 1, 2, 3 syllables inside. Okay, let's take a look at just the first one. Okay, you can see how we have the vowel O with W after it. So we know OW together can be a vowel team, or it can be one of our new diphthongs. In this syllable, it's going to be a diphthong, so mark it that way. And you know, OW together can say ow as a diphthong, so let's read the first syllable with ow, ow, pow. Let's take a look at just the middle syllable, and you can see how we have the vowel E with R after it. Okay, so we know ER together will be a bossy R. Let's mark it that way. And underline it for one sound because we know ER together will say Okay, so let's put the first two syllables together. We have pow, power. Okay, now sometimes syllables are just vowel sounds like nonsense words. Sometimes they can be real words like pow and turn. Okay, now let's take a look at the last syllable. And you can see how we have the value closed up by itself. Okay, so we would expect it to be quick and short. Let's read our last syllable with short U. Okay, now let's put all three syllables together. Power. Well, something doesn't sound quite right. Okay, we wouldn't say the storm last night was very powerful. We would say the storm last night was very powerful. Okay, so that U is not really short. It's what we call weak and schwa. Sometimes vowels can make very weak sounds and we hardly hear it. And that's what we have here. Okay, but even if we use the short U, okay, it still gets us close enough to the real word. We know what it is, okay, because we know it sounds close to powerful. That's what sounds right and makes sense. Okay, and we know this would not be powerful, so the OW can't be O. It has to be powerful with OWL. Okay, so always think about what's going to sound right and make sense to give you the right word. This is powerful, like the storm was quite powerful last night. Okay, for our last one, we're going to spell a Big Daddy word. And just like we can read bigger words in syllables, we can spell them in syllables to help us break them down. And then we can spell those syllables just like little words using the same rules about vowels. Put the syllables together, and when we do that, we can spell the bigger word. So here's the bigger word we're going to do. It's playground. So pound out its syllables. Playground. How many syllables? 2. Let's start with just the first syllable, play, and let's go ahead and make that 3 dotted line to help us sound out as we need to, and write down the letters we hear. Okay, let's do just the first syllable, play. Pull, a, play. What do we hear first? Pull, well, that's P-L. What do we hear last? Pull, A, well, that's A, and we can spell A, the long A, with A-Y at the end. So we're going to do that. So there is our first syllable, play. Okay, let's do our second syllable, which is ground. Let's sound out as we need to. Ground. What do we hear first? Grr. Well, that's G-R, no space. We're going to put the syllables together for the bigger word. Okay, what do we hear next? Ow. Well, we hear ow, and we know O-U together can be ow. And what do we hear last? Ground. Well, we hear and that's indeed together. Okay, so here's our second syllable, ground. Okay, put the syllables back together again. What is this bigger word? Playground. Like we went to the playground and had the best time ever. Okay? Now, you know these syllables work just like little words inside the bigger word using the same rules about vowels. And that can help us, especially with our spelling. Let's take a look here. AY usually comes at the end of a little word. Well, if we can spell the A at the end of a little word with AY, then we can spell the long A at the end of a syllable with AY. It might be in the middle of the bigger word, but at the end of the first syllable. Let's take a look at OU. If we can spell owl with OU in the middle of a little word, then we can spell owl with OU in the middle of a syllable. Okay, so if we spell these syllables just like little words, that can help us spell that bigger word correctly. Okay, alrighty, let's take a look here. You know, with these bigger words, your key is your vowel sounds. So if we can read little words with our different vowel sounds and patterns, we can find those same pieces in bigger words as syllables. Let's take a look here. Okay, if we can read short vowel words, then we can read closed syllables. It's the same thing. The vowel's closed up by itself, quick and short. If we can read little words with the vowel long on its own at the end, then we can read open syllables in bigger words. It's the same thing. The vowel's long on its own at the end. Okay, if we can read little long vowel words with magic E, then we can read magic E syllables in bigger words. It's the same thing. Okay, you're making the long vowel with magic E. If we can read little long vowel words with a vowel team, then we can read vowel team syllables in bigger words. It's the same thing. You're making the long vowel with a vowel team. Okay. If we can read little bossy R words, okay, then we can read bossy R syllables in bigger words. It's the same thing. You're making your vowel sound with R. Okay. And if we can read little diphthong words with OW, OU, OW, then we can read diphthong syllables in bigger words with OU, OW, OW. It's the same thing. Okay. So if you can read little words, you can certainly break down bigger words. Okay. Alrighty. In the last video, I'll share the fluency story with you. See ya.